Hello everyone, and welcome back. We're going to take a bit of a departure from what we usually cover, because today we're going to be talking about the importance of locking your doors. Your front door, your back door, your bedroom door, just about every single type of door you can think of, because you never know what types of things might walk through them. But today, I'll be opening the door to my heart and sharing with you all a wonderful analog horror revolving around this very topic. It has a nice blend of liminality and horror with sound design that leaves you on edge pretty much every second. Not to mention the monster design is terrifying. But before I get ahead of myself... Oh, I guess I forgot to lock that one. The name of the series in question is Obelisk, made by Lizard Menink. Hello, I'm a 20-year-old VFX artist. Hello, 20-year-old VFX artist, you make some horrifying shit. There's 5 videos in the series so far, all pretty short, but the last one is 8 minutes. I'll cover them in the order that they were released in, but there's no dates mentioned in these videos, so I can't really piece together a timeline. But after we go through them all, I'll do some dissecting at the end, or, as the nerds call it, analysis. If you don't want to be spoiled, I'd recommend checking out their channel first. And no, I won't be covering the Skibbity Toilet analog horror animation. Listen, I don't know if you've ever seen Peek before, but I think we might be looking at it. First up, Obelisk, my new friend. You fuckers gotta stop making friends with these things. The description states, pilfer. I thought that was a pirate word. Steal, typically things of relatively little value. Why is a dictionary advertising a game to me? I made a new friend. Do you want to meet him? He lives in here. What, he lives in your apartment? Oh, he lives in your closet. Can you see him? Please don't show me him. Oh, yep. There he is. Do you see him? Unfortunately. Oh, bye-bye, dude. He doesn't like being watched. Well, that seems like a bit of a double standard. He can watch you while you sleep, but you can't watch him. And of course, he's gone. Where did he go? We then cut to the person watching TV. This has to be some homage to Skinamarink, right? I'm watching TV. Sometimes my friend comes to watch too. We then hear some creaking and shuffling upstairs. He is here. Before the camera person goes to check, we see some cryptic symbols flash on the TV. The point of view begins to walk towards the staircase before panning up to it. He is upstairs. Do you see him? It then cuts to the monster in full view. Oh, wait, that's not him. There he is. He is in my closet. That's a pretty loose definition of in your closet. This kind of reminds me of Where the Wild Things Are, but like a weird, fucked up version. Do you see him? Yes, I see him. I don't want to anymore. The video then ends. So we kind of see the groundwork of how these things operate, seemingly appearing out of nowhere and leaving at will. Not entirely sure where the pilfering comes in, though. The next video is titled Preventing Home Invasions, VHS. It doesn't fall under the Obelisk namesake, but I'm gonna assume they're related considering the contents of the video. This VHS tape is made to inform residents on what to do during a home invasion. What to do during a home invasion. Home invasions are rare, but they are more likely to happen to those who are unprepared. Some tips to keep in mind. Tip 1. Secure all entrances. Lock your doors and windows at night. If an intruder cannot get into your home easily, it is unlikely that they will stay around for long. Tip 2. Escape. If you see or hear a home intruder, evacuate immediately, if possible. It is impossible to know an intruder's intentions or if they are armed or not. Tip 3. Hide. In the situation where you cannot leave, it is best to hide. Consider hiding inside or behind something. Do not pick a spot too obvious. Tip 4. Prepare to defend yourself. Grab something heavy or sharp that can be used as a weapon. If you own a firearm, now would be an ample time to use it. Tip 5. Your front door was unlocked. Do not look for the man inside your home. They're talking to you, you know. Not too much to this one, but it does begin to give us an idea of what we'll be dealing with. Following that up is Obelisk, You're Almost Gone. Description reading. Oddities detected. It opens with some offbeat music and a shot of a door. The door starts slowly opening, with some sort of creature beginning to slink its way through. The monster face is blacked out, and it sinks to the floor. This next shot is where we start to get a little bit of lore. We see a door in a forest, but it doesn't connect to anything. It's simply empty space behind it, yet it leads into an interior, presumably that of a home. So we can take that to assume that doors are kind of what allow these creatures to enter houses, just any door as long as it's unlocked. It then cuts to a towering figure in a forest. Kind of looks like it's smiling a bit. I don't think it's the same one as the beginning. This one's much smaller. After that, we get a Tarantino foot shot, and it cuts back to the hallway from the beginning, where the creature is gone, but we can see that it likely went through the door on the left given the footstep sounds. And then this happens. Boo! No, yeah, sorry, nothing actually happens. The second to last video goes by Obelisk, in your home. I'll save the description for now. We hear a baby crying in the background, but upon closer inspection, yeah, that ain't no baby. The video plays out somewhat like a point-and-click adventure game, or at least the vantage point does. Check on Abby. An interesting thing to note here is that there is a chair against the door, so the protagonist of this video has to be at least somewhat aware of the situation. He opens the door and heads down an oddly long hallway, all while the quote-unquote crying is heard in the background. Music is also distantly heard, getting louder and louder until we reach this room. He checks on the crib, and surprise, surprise, it's empty. Their attention quickly turns to, oh, hello. The crying has now stopped, and we get this lovely interaction. The music gets slowed and distorted, and we suddenly get this harrowing realization. The doors were locked, which was the description. The video ends with Jesterhead here just watching on. So now, I'm left with a couple of questions. This guy clearly knows that these things exist, given that he has barricaded his own door. So why leave your sleeping child in another room literally miles away from you? Sure, you locked the doors, but apparently you don't even trust the locks. What, this tiny chair wasn't enough for you to barricade this door too? So either this monster just ate this kid, or another theory is that this crib is for the monster, and these people just kind of treat these creatures as pets given that they can't stop them from entering. So, if locking the door won't prevent them from entering, what will? Maybe the answer lies in the final video, the house with no windows. Probably should have been no doors. In the description it says, I know your face. The opening shot is that of a grassy field, with a strange house seen in the distance. I recently found a strange abandoned house. There are no other houses seen around it, and is seemingly in the middle of nowhere. These shots have a strange, almost ethereal vibe to them, very similar to lots of liminal space images, which likely is the intent. It has no doors or windows. There are no obvious ways inside. I ended up finding a flat piece of wood that appeared to be hiding something. Behind it was an entrance to a crawl space. What secret is this house hiding? Okay, I can maybe understand entering an abandoned house with a standard type entrance, but when you have to crawl into it through a hidden hole, it might be time to cut your losses and fuck off. They end up finding a way inside and first set their camera on top of the opening. This part is especially eerie because you can't really tell if the movement you're hearing is that of the cameraman or something already inside the house. It smells like burnt matches. They proceed further into the house, finding the first oddity, a room that seems to have a tiny door drawn in the corner, and a full table set strewn across the ceiling. It's strange that the plug is near the floor, yet everything else is on the ceiling, but I do like the imagery. Further along in the house, they find a large door. This door is so tall. The camera cuts, and our protagonist takes note of the fact that some of the lights are on, and pans down to see stains of some sort on the floor. They then come across a split path between an arched pathway or a dark hallway, and upon looking back towards the arched one, something seems to peek its head around the corner to look. And of course, instead of leaving, they choose the one without the monster. Another room. Inside, it appears to be an art room, judging by the easel and tiny mannequin, but there isn't any equipment. The camera focuses on a wooden sign, with the words, "Be still, and know that I am God." I don't know if this is supposed to be comforting or not, but I'm gonna order 10 and put them across my house. After soaking in the interior, they decide to leave, discovering yet again more hallways. The design of this house is great because it just makes it seem so endless, despite the finite nature of the exterior. Heading down the hallway, we see an entrance to a staircase, with more religious imagery above. However, the stairs go nowhere. The camera cuts out again and they begin to head back the way they came, but they get distracted, zooming in down a hallway to reveal a door. It's too high up to reach. Yeah, it's also upside down, attached to the ceiling. The door fades out into the final shot, a reprise of the shot from earlier, heavily slowed down with the monster in full view. What are you? I know your face. It's somewhat unclear whether or not it's the monster speaking or the person, but I'll assume it's the human. Quite a good video, and the longest in the series. I think it definitely was the most interesting, even if the monster wasn't the focal point, but with all the videos now ran through, let's do some speculation. Alright, so given this shot, we can assume that this is where the creatures come from. They live in some sort of forest environment, but we don't really know if there's anything beyond that. They could have whole Monsters, Inc. level cities for all we know. You know, after I just wrote that part of the script, I'm realizing that this is a lot more similar to Monsters, Inc. than I'm comfortable with. They all seem to have different personalities, with some choosing to hide while others are fairly comfortable being out in the open. I'm curious on the relationship that they have with humans, considering they don't seem to be too hostile. I guess other than the one that ate the baby, allegedly. But if they aren't hostile, I wouldn't be surprised if some people kind of just view them as sort of roommates, because if you can't really stop them from getting in, you might as well break bread with them. And people are aware of them. They put up preventative measures and are surprisingly nonchalant about it. They don't even run or back away. But that brings us to the topic of what their actual goal is. Pilfer. What could that mean? What are they pilfering? Could be food, I guess. It seemed pretty sparse out there in Freak World. Perhaps they're bringing it back to feed this big dude. Also could be stealing some type of life force. They're just slowly taking our souls while being in our vicinity. But at the end of the day, the monsters just seem kinda lonely. Maybe they're just trying to pilfer attention. And hey, I've been there too, buddy. You don't gotta feel ashamed of it. Lastly, I want to take our attention to the last video, because it stands out from the rest. Let's start with the house as a whole. My take on it is that it was built as some sort of defensive measure against these creatures, and that they were unaware on how they were entering in the first place, so they built a house with no windows, assuming that might be how they were getting in. And given the fact that it is now devoid of life, at least human life, we can assume that these things have been around for a while, just a part of life by this point. This wouldn't exactly explain the random staircases to nowhere and strange doors, though. So it could be that the creatures built this house in the first place. But then what's with the art room? They didn't exactly strike me as the creative types, but hey, who am I to judge a struggling artist? So I'll meet you halfway on this. Some human originally built the house and likely left, taking all his art supplies with him. And then these guys added on some renovations. That kinda makes sense, I guess. And finally, the closing shot brings up something interesting. The person behind the camera recognizes the creature's face, and there's 3 things that this could mean. 1. This is a type of mimic that can't quite get faces right. 2. When someone you know dies, they go to Forest World and become monster people. This could actually explain their docile nature. Or 3. They've just seen this guy around their home before and found its vacation spot. This last one could be interesting, as it could be drawing people from their homes into this one for an unclear motive. Before we go, let's discuss the name of the series for a second. Obelisk. Obelisk, as a shape at least, is a stone pillar with a pyramid at the top, typically used as a monument or landmark. And as far as symbolism goes, they quote, "function to connect the heavens and the earth." That combined with the wooden sign from earlier alludes to the fact that these things we've been seeing throughout may be gods. Hope this house isn't their obelisk. They did not really get the shape right. I really enjoyed this series and hope it continues on in the future. The monster design was great, and I appreciate how every single one of them looked different. Actually, this one and this one might be the same, but great design regardless. If you enjoyed the videos, I'd recommend going to their channel and showing your support. I'll put a link in the description. And if you made it this far, thank you. This video was a bit shorter than I'd like, but I hope you enjoyed it despite that. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.